I love the name of this podcast. How married are you? I know you get asked this 1,000 times, but I just want to know the answer because I don't know the answer. Where did that name come from?
Well, it was something that I was doing like on Instagram, and basically we would get put into these compromising positions, and Yvette would like ask me for something, and I'm like, I don't want to do that right now. Remember, it was like I was on the toilet,
and then Glenn would be like, it would be like
I was on the toilet, and she'd come in and give me a kiss, and I'm like, and I just go, hey guys, is this? I'm not this married, or like, how married are you? Would you give your partner a kiss on the toilet? You know what I'm saying?
And so we had a lot of those. We had a lot of those types of moments, and Glenn would always pick up the phone and take a poll on Instagram.
Yeah.
And then we had kind of been like, we were wanting to start a book club, but it ended up just being a podcast. And
one of our followers told us we should name it.
And one of the followers was like, you should just name it How Married Are You?
Yeah.
And then it kind of stuck.
Yeah.
And we were like, that's just how married we are.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant title. Absolutely brilliant, because it what it does, here's what I love about the title, is that it projects and then it turns and makes you look inward, right? It's a brilliant title because you can ask it, but then the question comes back to you. Even if you're not married. Anyway, I won't get all philosophical on you, but I will ask you this. So what is the podcast essentially about? What do you cover, and what are you trying to accomplish, with the podcast?
So I feel like when we got married, like the question you kind of asked us earlier about like, who are you looking to as the example and who are you looking to as the non-example? We realized when we got married that there wasn't very much authenticity in the relationships that we were seeing, or there wasn't much transparency in the relationships that we were seeing. And so I guess we kind of offer ourselves as like, this is what the real is, y'all. Like, we are the proof, not the example. We are the proof that if you choose each other on a regular basis, or like if you find someone that you love, then you have to be willing to put in work. And we try to give people an inside look of what that work looks like, how painful it is, how joyful it is, the highs, the lows, and all of that. We feel like through the transparency and vulnerability that we are helping other marriages, not only to like inform their current marriage, to let them know that they're not alone, but I feel like we're also giving those people who are not married but desire to be married a realistic view of what to expect. Like, it's not going to be perfect, because we definitely don't think we're perfect.
That's what you're giving me. That's what you're giving me. You're giving me a realistic view. You are not giving me the desire to be married.
Yeah.
No. That's going to take God himself. Is going to have to come down and just sit right here.
Really?
Like Dr. Chong.
No.
That's good to know.
Yeah, because what we serve as is we're a window in.
Yeah.
So it's like conversation. Someone said this in our comment section. They were like, I feel like I'm listening to my aunt and uncle have a talk, and I'm just a fly on the wall. Like on a Saturday morning, they're just talking. Because the truth is, it's the first time we're having these conversations.
That's brilliant.
Yvette, as you could probably tell, she doesn't talk a lot. She usually does not talk. She likes to write. And so because I talk a lot, everyone like thinks that I'm like just kind of talking, but she usually like orates better. But now she's like, I'm forcing her to have these conversations on camera. And so when we talk about how we feel about anything, it's always for the first time. And so you're listening to a realistic response.
I love what you just said. It's like listening to your aunt and uncle, talk and just eavesdropping on. That's a perfect way to describe it. It's brilliant, actually. I won't get into how brilliant it is, but it's brilliant. So listen, there are people asking a question about the podcast. So here's an audience question. One of the audience members said this: with this podcast and the media exposure, how do you keep what's sacred sacred? What do you do to keep the balance? And I'm going to add to the question, how do you keep the balance between what you reveal and what you keep to yourselves? It's a pretty good question, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a great question.
Shout out to whoever sent that question.
Yeah, because I don't necessarily know if we have a straight up answer for that, because there's a lot we're talking about that we're like, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it now we talk about what's sacred. There's lines we won't cross. I don't think that we actually know those lines, but we can feel when we're getting close to it, and we just don't go there.
Just don't go
Yeah.
there.
But there's a lot that is really not shared because of fear of how we're gonna look. Perceived. Yeah. And that's where we're not we remove those boundaries. Yeah. So there's things that's kind of like, well, how do you feel about, for instance, her mom doesn't like to watch the podcast because we have conversations and I'm kind of like, well, when you value your mother's opinion over mine, it makes me feel like, you don't necessarily love me or you don't trust me with your time or something like that. Mm-hmm. And she has to really have that conversation, but her mom is totally able to hear it. Now, what the audience doesn't know is that I'm cool with having that conversation with her mom all the time. Her mom probably don't want to hear it, but I'm down to have the conversation. What makes people uncomfortable is that I would say that out aloud so that her mom, as if we're talking about her mom, and that's just not the reality of the situation.
Yeah, no, it's a fine line. I'm in public life, so it's a fine line between what you reveal about yourself and about your family, but also wanting to be authentic and to let people know, this is who I am. And you said something that was very powerful. You said that you all trust each other not to cross the line. And for me, that's why, and tell me if I'm wrong, Yvette, tell me if I'm wrong about this. That's why you have to marry somebody with integrity. If you don't marry somebody with integrity, then you will never know if they have the character it takes not to cross that line.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the hard part. Is that like you really can't. I'm sorry, he asked you, babe.
I'm about to say, Glenn, hush up.
Oh, okay. So look, that's the hard part.
You're still talking. You're still talking.
I have to say this, Dr. Sean. I have to say this because I feel like this is a message for you. You out here single in these streets, bachelor pageants, industry. I don't know what you're doing, but listen, it's really important who you choose.
Yeah.
The person that you choose to marry and be with and partner up with, it means way more than any other decision that you ever make.